have a right to expect a police service that you can trust, which looks like you, that understands you and wants the best for you. And the only way that that is going to happen is by having more people from underrepresented groups joining the organization and being the change that they want to see. I know that's not an easy thing for people to accept, but one of the reasons why I'm here with my colleagues is to have that conversation. Because ultimately, if you want to change things, if you want to see a police service that you really feel understands you and is providing a service, then we need many of you to make that important step and join the organization and bring about the change. So that's why I'm here, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. You've heard from the man himself with the brief introduction. So don't be scared. Listen, nothing is going to happen. If you have any question, you're thinking of joining the Met, please, just get your piece of paper, write down all the necessary information we're going to get tonight here. Right, I'll come to our sisters now. Can I have Grace to introduce herself to the audience, please?
Thank you so much, DJ Ish and DJ Little, for having us. My name is Grace Bernard Broderick, and I am an outreach recruitment lead for the Met. I currently cover the West area, which is Hillingdon, Hounslow and Ealing, and also Northwest, which is Harrow, Brenton, Barnet. So I'm basically in Jeff's team. So I'm one of the outreach leads. And what we do is we go out into the communities and basically try to inspire people to join the organization. So we work with a number of external partners, such as yourself. So we work with community leaders, we work with churches, we work with mosques, so all the faith leaders, we work with schools, universities, and charities, just to try and get word out there. So I'll talk about that a little bit later on in terms of the career pathways that we currently have. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sister Grace. Can I have Kiki to introduce yourself? Can you unmute, please?
Hello, good evening. Good evening, DJ Ish, DJ Little. My name is Kiki Ogunsanya. I'm a sergeant within the Metropolitan Police Service. I have been a police officer for about 18 years now. I currently work in one of the basic command units within the Met, which is the northeast area. Basically, I cover the boroughs of Newham and Waltham Forest as an outreach sergeant. So I work alongside Z as well. And like Grace said, what we're doing is trying to inspire people to join the Met. I'll probably discuss my journey into the Met briefly. I wasn't born in this country. I came to this country as a teenager, and I really wanted to see myself in the police service that obviously was police in my community. There were two things I would say that I became acutely aware of when I joined the Met, or so when I actually came to this country. And they were, one, I was Black, because I never knew I was Black when I grew up in Nigeria. And two, that obviously the Met and the Black community in particular had a fractured history. So, and that was really one of the reasons why I joined, because I really wanted to be the change. I wanted to be the change I wanted to see and just try and make a difference. So I'm sure I'll talk a bit more later, but that's it for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiki. Thank you. Now I'll come to the main man himself, who is going to take us through the whole program tonight. So if you've got questions, get your piece of paper, or you can just send us a message and then we'll read out the message and then the panelists will actually respond. Over to you, Z.
Thank you very much to the East. Thank you very much to the Little. Good evening, everyone. My name is Z. As Grace just mentioned, I'm also an outreach lead, currently covering the Northeast Basic Command Units, that's near Waltham Forest, and also the Southwest Basic Command Units as well, as Wolfenden, Waltham, Waldsworth, Kingston, and Richmond as well. So I've been in the Met for more than 2 years now. My role as an outreach lead include working with both internal and external partners. As Grace mentioned, some of the external partners that we're working with as well are the DWPs, people like yourself as well. the housing associations, to name the few. And the reason why we do such is for us to build confidence as well and build relationship within the community in terms of our work. So today, once again, thank you for the opportunity. As the title says, be the change you want to see. That is the title for today. So what's going to happen? We're going to have a speaker that's going to give like a brief overview in terms of their work. And at the end, we'll open for Q&A. Can I also say this as well? Why some speakers are speaking, please, if we can just mute ourselves, listen, and then at the end, you will have the opportunity to ask them any further question as well. Because part of today, what we're trying to do, part of our aim as well, we're trying to build confidence, we're trying to inform, we're trying to inspire, and also we're trying to act as well. So in terms of building confidence, we want to increase the trust and confidence in communities where we know it's low. And also in terms of inform, we want to inform people of the fantastic career that we have within the Met itself. Grace will cover that later on. In terms of inspire, we want to be the change you want to see. And also in terms of act as well, we want to provide advice and guidance to potential recruits. So without further ado, what I will do now, I will hand over to Chief Superintendent Jeff, who will give a strategic overview of the organization, where we are, and also where we're about to go to. So Jeff, over to you, sir.
So thank you, Z. I think the best background is to give the context. If you consider that within London, over 44% of Londoners are from underrepresented groups. However, within the Met Police at the moment, in terms of officers, 16% are from underrepresented groups. And that demonstrates how much more work needs to be done in that particular area. If you look at London as a whole, over 51% are made up of females, but within the organisation, about 29% are females. So we need to increase the number of people from underrepresented groups and the number of females. And the reason why I've said that is because we provide a policing service, not police force, because many of people from the Black community have been on the receiving end of enforcement. And we recognize that we need to demonstrate there is so much more to policing than just enforcement. There is so much more work that needs to be done around engagement and providing a service where people who are vulnerable, who are in danger, that they can go to a service and have confidence that they will get the service that they require. And in order to do that, and in order to understand the cultural differences that are within London, you need to have people from those varying groups that look like and sound like the very people that they're providing a service, which is why the work that I'm doing with the support of members of my team that are on here tonight is so important. We know that there are legacy issues in terms of stop and search. The fact that as an organization, we still have this brand, or we're being asked, are we institutionally racist? We know that confidence, in particular within the Black community, is low. We know that as a result, not just of what happened to Sarah Everard, which is tragic, but what has also happened to Bibba Henry, Nicole Smallman. These are things that will lower confidence for females that live in London. And we have a lot of work to do to be able to get people to consider joining our organization. So this for us is not a quick fix, but the way that you bring about change and the way that you improve confidence is by having conversations, is to talk with people and more importantly, is to listen to what their areas of concern are, and then demonstrate that you've actually heard what people have said, and then look at how we can work together to bring people to consider a career in the police. That is why we are really pleased to have this opportunity, not just a one-off, because we recognize that there is going to be need for regular ongoing conversations. We are spread across the whole of London. We work within schools, we work with faith communities, we work with community leaders, we work with young people. And I'm proud to say that we have an attraction community reference group that is made up of people from across London, across community groups, that help us shape our approach, help us shape our strategy, help us in terms of doing the right thing. And they feel more increasingly that they have an important voice which is being heard, which is helping shape how we go about our attraction. The team that I lead has over 60 members of staff. Over 70% of those are from underrepresented groups. Over 65% are female. So we have a team that represents the community, that represents the majority of people that could be on this line, that will have a shared experience about what it's like to be somebody from an underrepresented group within this country, and can speak from experience and know the challenges that are faced and have actually walked the talk. So it's vitally important that we have honest and open dialogue, and that we can start to address some of the issues that do exist. You will not hear me being on the defensive. You'll not hear me trying to say things aren't happening. But what you will hear is what we're doing to bring about a positive change. So that's it from me as a starting point. And over to you, Z, for any further points.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for that quick overview. Again, if anyone have any question for Jeff at the end, you have a panel, you have checked any questions as well, please write them down. Don't be shy, let's have an honest and open discussion. So now it takes me to the next speaker. I will now introduce Grace as well, bring Grace back on. Grace will just give us a quick overview of outreach as well, and also of the recruitment pathways. Grace, over to you.
Amazing. Thank you for that, C. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the career opportunities that we currently have within the Met. So we recently introduced our 2 new pathways. So one of them is the degree apprenticeship. So it's called the Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship Program. And then we've got our degree holder entry program. So these opportunities are fully funded programs where those that are taking part in it will earn either a degree if they are doing the degree apprenticeship program, or a diploma if they're doing the degree holder entry pathway. So in terms of the courses, the apprenticeship is a 3-year program, where the degree holder one is a 2-year program. So those that will be taking part in this program will be earning a circa 30K, which is largely unheard of. If I had an opportunity like this when I was 18 years old, I would have grabbed it with both hands. This is an opportunity where you can grow, you can develop, and you will be offered support so that you can make it through the program. And at the moment, like Jeff mentioned, we are focused on diversity and inclusion, and we're particularly looking at the Black communities and also other underrepresented groups. And for you to actually take part in these programs, you need a minimum English GCSE, grades A to C, or grades 4 to 9 in the new standard. If you currently do not hold those, we actually have partnered up with London South East colleges, who will be able to help you attain an English qualification as well. So in terms of the programs, we've partnered up with Brunel University London, University of East London, Anglia Ruskin, and Brunel University. So those are 4 the universities that we partnered up with. And in terms of the area where you'll be working, this will be your choice. So you could choose where you want to work. You'll get 3 choices, and we'll try to go with your first. If you're unable to do that, we'll go to your second or your third choice. So throughout, whilst you're doing these programs, you'll get to experience different teams. So you get to experience different specialist areas. So you work within the safe neighborhoods, which is all about engaging with diverse communities. You'll then also work on the response team, which is helping those that are in situations, for instance, the ones where you see the cars with the fast sirens, and you also get to work within CID, safeguarding, safer transport. So there's a number of different opportunities. And then once you've completed your programs, you could also then move to a specialist team of your choice, subject to availability, of course. So you'll have access to the internal portal. So that is just a brief overview in terms of the pathways that we currently have as well. Z, I don't know if I've left anything out that you would like to add.
No, Grace, thank you very much for that. I think what we'll do in terms of like the Q&A, then maybe people might ask extra question that I'll be able to answer. Well, thank you very much for that overview. Once again, good evening, everyone. If you just joined us again, thank you very much for joining us today. Today, our title is Be the Change You Want to See. We're talking about opportunity within the Metropolitan Police and also having an honest and open conversation as well. So now what I would do, I'll bring in our next guest, and that is Police Sergeant Okusanu, who will talk about experience as well of being a Black female officer. So over to you, Kiki.
Hello, thank you, Z. Hi. So like I stated earlier, I have been a police officer within the Metropolitan Police Service for 18 years now. And I am one of the sergeants in the outreach team heading the Northeast area, Walker Forest and Newham. So a bit about me. When I joined, or when I made the decision to join the police service about 20 years ago, it was, like I said, because I wanted to see someone who looked like me. I grew up in a country where, I'd never really had any issues with the police. They were there to help us. And when I came to this country, I quickly understood that there were issues as relates to the Black community and the police in general. So I thought, you know what, why not be the change I wanted to see many moons ago when I did join. And to be honest with you, I had all these idealistic intentions of, making things better and right, as you do at the age of 18. And when I joined, the first few years were really difficult. I'm going to be honest with you. They were quite lonely because I had something of an identity crisis as it relates to who I was. There were issues with some friends and families because some of them couldn't quite understand why I wanted to join a police service that had been let down, in their eyes for a myriad of reasons. And I would say leaning into the support of my family, my immediate family, specifically my mom and dad, and also the support of some of my colleagues who have become friends now, because we had this, again, almost this identity crisis. Are you Black? Am I a police officer? Am I a Nigerian girl? So those were the things I had to deal with. What I would say is I honestly love my job. I love being a police officer. I love helping people. That's why I joined. So this was what really sustained me for many, many years, even regardless of how I felt being isolated initially when I joined the Met. A few years into my career, I was able to meet someone who inspired me even further. And this was another female sergeant, and she was Black. And this is why I say representation matters a lot. And she took me under her wing, mentored me, coached me, supported me, again, became a very close family friend. And she is a huge, huge reason I am actually here. I decided to be inspired somewhat to even join the outreach team because this was something that was so dear to my heart. And it's so, so amazing that 18 years after I joined, I'm actually doing the main thing, doing the thing I really wanted to do when I initially joined. And what I'm just going to put forth out there today is, first of all, I don't have that identity crisis anymore because the Met is changing. And I will tell you this because right now I feel comfortable enough to bring my whole self into work. I don't feel like I have to sort of take off this, and I feel comfortable in myself to be, yes, this is who I am. I'm still a police officer. I'm a Nigerian lady and I'm a Black woman. And those three can coexist happily. And I also just want to put out there that what you look like whether you've got an accent, whether you were born in this country, should not be a barrier to you joining. I have so many people I come across in my travels doing this job, and they think, oh, wow, can I do this? Are they going to take me in? And believe me, I had those initial thoughts as well. And I need to make you aware that until you try something, you really never know. The Met is changing. And as Mr. Booth and everyone has actually said as well, we need to reflect the London we police and we serve. Okay, so as it relates to females, Black, Asian, mixed ethnicity people, we are still very much a minority within the Met. And for us to actually make any sort of meaningful difference, we need to become a majority. We need to increase numbers. You know, our voices need to be louder, because when our voices become louder, we are heard. From hearing, you understand, and from understanding, maybe we can get empathy, and from empathy, we're able to actually make some sort of meaningful difference. I'm just going to end this quickly with a story, not really a story, but an encounter I had with 2 young Black girls. Last month, I was doing an event in Stratford, and these 2 young Black girls ran up to me and they were like, oh, wow, it's so amazing. I've never seen a Black female officer. And I must say, at that moment, my heart dropped, because as amazing as it was for them, that was the same reason I joined 20 years ago. And it just made me think that not a lot had changed. And again, we're banging about this, be the change you want to see. I'm hoping in another 20 years, conversations like this or moments like this aren't the norm. You know, in 20 years' time, let it be normal, and let's normalize the fact that we are part of the police, are the community, and the community of the police. And for us to actually make things better, we have to be in it to win it. And that's it from me. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for that, Kiki. Thanks for sharing your experience as well and talking about your journey being the Met. What we're going to do now, DJ, is, if I can hand over back to you, the panelists have just finished now. So what we do, we will open for any questions or any comments. If you have any personal question towards any of the panelists, you can direct them. Or if you have any general question you want to throw at us, we're more than happy to take them on now. So over to you again, DJ Ish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Z. Thank you very much. I'll come back to DJ Little to just check the chat and see if there's any question there, so that you can just read them out, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, DJ Ish, and also thank you to Z, thank you to Jeff, Grace, as well as Kiki, and I can't help but feeling very inspired by your stories, by everybody, their stories basically. And for myself, from where I'm standing or sitting, I have to be very candid that I'd like to share my story, because when you do these sort of platforms, you want to be able to give a clear context as to where you want to go, where you see yourself. And although, fortunately for me, as a young man growing up in the UK as well, in the mid-90s, coming from a war-torn country, Sierra Leone at the time, and I have to say, in the years of living in the UK, I haven't experienced difficulties with the police, which I would say that has impacted on me or left a significant stigma on me in a negative way. I have been pulled out by the police, not just as an individual, but in a group as well. And well, it's never hindered me. It's never allowed me to see the police as not an area. I've also done workshops with the police. Back in 2012 to 2014, I was given an opportunity by the Met Police to become a community champion, a community ambassador, where I was a community ambassador and I'm representing this community, the Sierra Leone community, and as was recommended by a brother who is no longer with us, may his soul rest in peace, Mr. Abes Kamara, who felt I was the right candidate. So I have had a personally positive experience with the police, but did I see myself as in working for the police or as a police officer or in any other shape or form? Probably not at the time. even though I worked with the police as an ambassador program that was limited. But I've always looked at the police and said, okay, if I didn't have the opportunity to directly work with the police, I think one of my children can. And I've always drive the opportunity where I can say, especially my eldest, my firstborn, my son, because the way he presents himself, his mannerism, is good-natured and all of that stuff. And I've always tried to encourage him to say, why don't you go into the police? I've had several conversations like this because you know, when you are you and then you feel that you haven't achieved something, but you can feel that the next person behind you, your next of kin, can take on that extra mantelpiece. So I've always, but again, it's not something that he has seen that's for him. It's not that he's had personally been influenced by the negative stereotype of the police, but he just feels that this is not for me for now. So maybe something more. So that's what I wanted to share my story. I do have one or two questions I want to ask, but I just, first of all, Z and the rest of the panelists, I just wanted to share that story, and then I'll go back to Ish. In terms of the comments from the social media page, we haven't had any questions that have come through, but we're receiving quite a high number of volume of appreciation, like the loves, the likes are coming through. So what I'll do, I'll just use this opportunity this time to just read the number again to all our guests that are watching, and thank you for watching. So the number to contact if you want to ask our panelists any questions will be 07951 213 881. That's 07951 213 881. You can ask our panelists any questions. And because the core of our audience is mainly the parents, you might be a parent and you're thinking, my son is 19, my daughter is 21, and they've just left college, they're going to take a year back, and I would like them to have an experience, a work experience. So this is the opportunity for those who are parents at this point to pick up the phone and ask the questions. And the police, as you've heard from Jeff himself, it's not just about the bobbies on the beat. There are so many other opportunities that can be sought through the police force. And I'm really also, I want to say thank you, Z, for making this program come onto Diaspora Voices. I'm truly grateful, myself and DJ Ish. Over to you, Ish.
Thank you, Little. Thank you. There. I just want to ask in generally, I know quite a lot of people think when they hear the police, or you actually, like our kids, you encourage them to get into the police force, or like, because some of us are not fortunate, it's something that we're not interested in, but we see them like, oh, it's something just like what DJ Little just said there, like they fit the role to actually get into the police and get some experience, serve the community. But for you to actually get them to do that, they said, oh, no, I'm not interested in police force and all that. So how do we encourage the kids of today to actually see the police as something they can easily attracted by? Like when you think of, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a lawyer. How do we encourage them?
If you're gonna pick it out, you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll start off. So it's a really good question, DJ Ish. I'd say in two parts. I think one of the areas that we need to be doing more of is engaging with parents, to give parents that reassurance about the opportunities that are available, because we know in certain cultures, unless there is the support of the family network, even if somebody is actually looking to do it, they're not wanting to go against the views of their parents. So we need to do a lot of work in that particular area, but we also need to be doing more in terms of at schools at an early age. We also have what's called a volunteer police cadet pathway, where young people as young as 11 can join the cadets, and they get given training in transferable life skills about presentation, being self-confident. Even if they don't want to join the police at a later stage, it gives them a better understanding about the police service and how it operates. We also have a pathway for those young people when they get to the age of 16 and 17, where we can then help them in their pathway to becoming a police officer. But a final point I would make is what we have is called the ride-along scheme, which is an opportunity, not just for young people, but for anybody that is kind of thinking, I'm not too sure about becoming an officer. You can go out on a tour of duty with an officer to see what it is really like. And that will kind of be the acid test to say to somebody, is this what I want to do? And the final point I would make is that whilst my team is focused on recruiting people to become police officers, there are so many other roles within the police service: accounts, media, marketing, social media. There are so many different roles that are available that are there apart from being a police officer. So if anybody is looking for something that is exciting, that is challenging, but is also giving back to the community, then we recommend that you go on our website and have a look and see what's available. Contact the outreach team. I'm sure Z will provide the email address later. But there's so many things, but what we say is have that conversation with us, because only by speaking to us can we make you aware of the fantastic opportunities that are out there. That would be the start.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very, very much for answering that question. I just want to come back to, let me come to Sister Grace, and what more can you add on to what Jeff have said there? Because we see more of police, we see more of female and more of male than female. So how can you attract the female side, encourage them to actually take on the policing, as to the way they attracted by being a nurse, a doctor, and so many roles in other public services?
Kiki, do you want to go first or should I?
No, yeah. Go on, Grace. Okay, Kiki, if you want to, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll go first, obviously being a police officer. Yes, so I'm currently a mum to a 13-year-old, and one thing I would say, especially with the Met Police as well, as it relates to attracting females, we do have flexible working now, which is something we never, or was never actually offered, generally as a way of entry. So that is something to consider. Another point I need to make is there are different ways to police, okay? So, and fine, we're a service, and so there's so many ways to police. So it's not all about, your stereotypical running and being, Superman, etc. There are different ways to police. There's so different departments you can go into. You can go into child protection team, you can go into CID. There's so many pathways or so many departments within the Met Police, even as a police officer as well. I worked in communications for a little while because that suited my work-life balance. I was still able to be still at the forefront of policing, but still able to manage my home, my work-life balance with my childcare arrangements. So that's something I try and bring to the table and tell people that fine, you might have kids or you may want to start a family. That doesn't mean you have to sort of stop your career, or it doesn't have to have a hindrance to your career. You can still have a very fruitful career even while you're starting a family, or as a female or as anyone. So it is very much open to any gender, obviously, because I'm here. I hope that answers your question. Or
Yes. Thank you. Sister Grace, do you want to add on to what Kiki have just said there?
Like what Kiki said, is honestly, like the Met has changed so much. There's now a scheme called Met Babies, So those officers that actually have children whilst they're working, they'll be given the opportunity to sign up to Met Babies. We also have part-time, which will be starting in January 2022. So that means that working mothers can now work part-time, so which would be really good. At the moment, within my role, how we're trying to attract women is we're working with like women's charities. We are going to mosques and, you know, speaking to women-only groups. We're also working with the safe neighborhoods to deliver some safety talks as well as recruitment talks, so that women are reassured that, you know, when they enter the police, they will be looked after and that they'll be given a lot of training. Also, there's a misconception in terms of when women join the police that you have to be a certain height, that you have to be a certain weight. But those misconceptions are just misconceptions, because you could literally be any weight and any height. You just have to obviously pass the fitness test. And also, when we're looking at these roles, we're looking from people from 18 right up to the age of 57. For those that are maybe mothers but don't necessarily want to devote full time, what they could do is they could sign on our special constable scheme as well, which will mean there'll be volunteer officers, and all they have to do is minimum 16 hours a week, 16 hours a month, sorry. So that's literally just 2 shifts where they could support and help their communities.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you. Let me bring in Z to just add on to what the other panelists have just said. And then DJ Little has got a question after your submission, sir.
Thank you very much again, DJ H. Once again, good evening, everyone. If you just joined us, thank you very much for joining us. And our title will be The Change You Want to See as well. Just to add to what Grace and also Kiki just mentioned as well, it's important as well to let you guys know that in November, we've been running 4 different location events. And those events are big size events. For the Southwest, we will be at Tooting Broadway. Grace will update you on the location that she's going to be doing as well. The importance of those events is for us to engage as well with the community in terms of our recruitment pathway that we have. Because what we realize is, like, most people don't know about the entry pathways, they don't know about the degree program, and also the apprentice program as well. So we're going out there to engage and inform people as well. So please, DJ Leeds and DJ Ish, if you want further information for that, and also to help us promote those events coming up, please email me. I will send you all the details as well. Prior to that as well, I think it's important where the organization is actually positioned itself at this current moment. As you've heard from Jeff, Grace, and Kiki, we are here now trying to increase our number. We are now not just to increase it, but just to engage as well, because we want to build that trust between the community and ourselves as well. We want to build that relationship. Hence why we are here today, and today is a fantastic opportunity for us to be on this platform to talk, not just about recruitment as well, but to talk about anything pertaining to the police, how we can make it better, and also how you can be the change you want to see. So I'm really happy and I'm pleased as well to be here. I will just pause for now, DJ Ish, and obviously we'll listen to the question that DJ Little have for us, be able to answer that, and then we can take this forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. DJ Little, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ish, Z, and the rest of the panelists. So my question was what I wanted to say, first of all, is some of our young Black boys and girls may have had a history of young juvenile, or have had an experience with the police where they may have had a stay or 2 in cells and all of that stuff. Basically, the impact on their CRB, or as it is known. And will these people or these young men and women still have the opportunity to be able to make that change, to be the change as they wanted to see, to say, well, look, my life is turned around, and I want to represent my community. I want to be part of that community which gives back, because we've seen the massive rise in the closures of the youth centers, which no longer exists, and all of that stuff. And a lot of these people during their youthful years were using those youth centers as a platform to give back after having 1 or 2 negative experiences or spells within as a young juvenile. Basically, will there be an opportunity if one has had a criminal record, so to speak, to be able to be the change they wanted to see? And that would go for Jeff and the rest of the panelists, if you could comment, please.
Okay, so a really important question, and it's vitally important that your listeners are clear on my answer. We have been doing recruitment, attracting people for quite some time. And what we were finding was that there was no real issue in attracting people, but what we were finding was that there were a number of people that were falling foul or failing at the pre-employment checks. We would call it the vetting stage. And what they were falling foul of was what we would call the honesty and integrity test. Because when you have the application form, it will ask you for your background. Just as you've said, have you been in trouble with the police before? Or even details of members of your family. Now, the most important point to remember here, any police officer, any person that is working for the police service has to demonstrate honesty and integrity at all times. So if you complete a form and you do not complete it honestly, and we then, through the background checks, identify that you have not been truthful, then you will fail the honesty and integrity test. It won't be because you've had a checkered past. It's because you've not been honest about declaring it in the first place. So what we've been doing is we've been working with the vetting department to ensure that they come to the larger events that Z has been talking about, and that they have conversations with people, and then they're able to explain to them that every case is taken on a case-by-case basis. So we encourage people to be open and transparent about what's happened in the past. That then enables the vetting team to look into each case on its merit, and then depending upon the circumstances, you still may be accepted by the organization as long as you've declared it. Another important point, and this shows how much work we need to do as an organization. When there was a lot of discussion about Windrush, about the Home Office, looking at ways of trying to send people back from this country, having lived here for a number of years, there was an urban myth going around that the police were looking to get details about extended family in order to give it to the Home Office to deport people. That is not the case. Now, you guys might be smiling, but we know that people have not been declaring their wider family background through fear that the details would be used to deport their relatives. That is not the case, but we need to be having these conversations to dispel those urban myths, to reassure people the only details that we use is for our own purposes of vetting. It does not go to any other government department. There is no hidden agenda to deport people. We just need to ensure that anybody that joins the organization has got honesty and integrity. And if you have had a problem in the past, it doesn't automatically mean that you won't be accepted. We will treat each case on its merits.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to have a follow-up question to what Jeff was saying, because when you discuss the honesty and integrity, what if I have no idea that my uncle, my mom's cousin, or my dad's cousin has had a checkered past or has got a criminal record, and I've turned up at one of the workshops, or I've completed an application form, and during the process of vetting, as you say, it was discovered that I have an uncle or an auntie who's got a criminal record, but I have only declared as honest as I could on the application form, on the time of completing the application form, what I know best in and being clearly honest, being clearly demonstrating integrity. How can I be reprimanded and not being able to move on to the next stage of the interview process?
So a year to 18 months ago, you would have failed the process. But now we have what's called an equalities cell within the vetting department. So if somebody fails the process, they have the right to appeal the decision, and then we interview the individual, and they then have that opportunity to explain their circumstances, and that gives them an opportunity to be put through the process. So what we've done in the past year to 18 months is to provide the opportunity for people to appeal and for them to be interviewed in order that the team can understand each of the individual circumstances. And we have seen a large number of people who are no longer failing that process because they have been given the opportunity to explain their circumstances.
That's fine. I'm free,
guys. So thank you so much, Jeff. That was a very good answer. Thank you for that.
Can I add a little bit on that as well, please, DJ Little, as well, if you don't mind. That's the importance as well of having the outreach team as well. That question that you just asked, I think is very important, and that's one question that we get a lot, and that's the stumbling block with a lot of Black applicants as well, in terms of that integrity and trust, in terms of that knowledge. Hence why we are here. We speak to people. So if you know about anyone that want to apply but have those issues, have those concerns, please direct them to myself or to Grace as well. We're more than happy to spend our time to explain to them how to go through the application form, how to apply as well, because as Jeff just mentioned, integrity and trust is the most important. If you don't declare that, we will not know, and that will be an extra application, and we don't want that to happen. So before they apply, we don't mind to speak to them, to explain to them the process, and also go through the application as well to help them, so when they apply, we know they're in a good place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Z. Thank you. DJ Little, I don't know whether you've got any question from the audience. Is there any question there before we move on?
I don't have any question for the audience, but later on, after I would like to ask a question to Kiki and Grace, please.
All right, people, if you're watching us, if you want to call the program and ask any question, the telephone number is 07951213881. Feel free to call and ask any question that you want to ask. Right. Zain, let me just come back to you guys. When are we going to see, because we know now there are lots of all the workshop places that youngsters, they used to go, they used to learn so many things, get them off the streets, they engage in those workshops, but all those places right now, they are all closed. So when are we going to see the reopening of those places again so that the youngsters can feel secure, safe, and confidence to go back there to learn things and be part of the community?
Well, I think that question is more strategic question than more for the police, but I don't actually know myself. But I don't know, Jeff, if you have any idea about that, or you can throw more lights for me, that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. So prior to taking on this role, I was the commander in charge of Bromley, Croydon, and Sutton, 3 very different boroughs. But the point that you're raising, Ish, is one where you hear the term quite often, multi-agency approach. But the reality is that to get what you're talking about, you need a combination of the educational establishments, you need the local authorities, and a lot of it does come down to funding. Because if I go back to, I've been in policing 30 years. I'm 56 years of age. I was born and raised in Brixton. If I go back to my childhood, I had after school classes. I could go to a local community group where I could play table tennis, and all of these things have shut down. And what happens is the police, because we're out on the streets, are seen as the organization that's supposed to provide that solution. This is not a policing solution. This is something that we need to work with educational establishments, local authorities and community groups to provide these forums for young people to go to so they can come off the streets, that they've got something that they could be engaged with. We all have our community officers, schools officers, going to those locations and working with them to break down those barriers, but it would be absolutely wrong to believe that it's the responsibility of the police to fill that gap.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether Sister Grace and Kiki, whether you guys want to add on to this.
Nothing to add from me.
Okay. Kiki?
Yeah, likewise. I think Mr. Booth has pretty much covered it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Over to you again, Z.
Again, nothing to add. And I believe that DJ Little said he have a couple of more questions. So go ahead, DJ Little.
Thank you very much. My next question is going to go to both Kiki and Grace. I'm a father of two daughters, two girls as well, and growing up in the UK. But one of the things that inspired me tonight, although I have come across high-profile BAME police officers, and which I've been very fortunate. I'm joining my community ambassador role, but one of the things that inspired me most, especially with Kiki, you sound like us, and I know that might be a little bit difficult or stereotypical for me to say you sound like us, or shall I just rephrase and say you sound normal? The high-profile police officers that I've met, which are of Black and minority ethnic, have been very eloquently spoken, nothing away from that. But the general community, so to speak, that may aspire to get into the outreach team, some of these young girls out there may just sound like your normal South Londoner, North Londoner, or wherever they are in the country, whether they having the typical Mancunian accent or the Geordie accent, but they may not feel that wanting to be part of the police. They need to feel that their elocution has to be right. You have to be able to have some sort of dialect, and you need to be able to be sharpened up on your T's and your I's and your J's, so to speak. How can young girls, female girls, feel being what you call normal in terms of their elocution, be able to give them the confidence to say, okay, well, anyway, I sound a little bit like I'm Tracy down the road, but I can still apply for the, do you know what I mean? What can you say to them, being somebody, as you said, came here when you were young, Nigerian, young British Nigerian, but yet still being able to aspire into the role of a sergeant now in the police officer. Kiki, please.
Hello, thank you. So yeah, I don't know how many posh people you're speaking to, but in all honesty, when I came to this country, and okay, I'm going to get a little bit deep here, I had issues. I think I mentioned the fact about, fitting in, and I had an accent, I mean, and it still comes out in certain situations. And that was something I struggled with as well. However, when I go out and I'm speaking to the young girls out there, the young mums, the young females, men, etc., and when they say, "Oh, do you want to join the police?" and they say no, and I want to know why. Why don't you want to join the police? I haven't got two heads. I mean, when I take up this uniform, I'm just like any regular Black girl. You won't know who I am, and it's not because I'm, ashamed of what I do, but it's because that's just who I am. You will never know who I am. So what I would say to anybody is, London has different people who speak differently. It's a hotbed of different cultures, different accents, different, people have come here. I'm first generation, as it were, because I wasn't born here. My son, obviously, he was born here, so he has a different experience to me, as does Mr. Booth, as does Grace. So we all have different experiences. So why not have a police service that reflects that? Because I will go to a certain call with maybe my Bangladeshi colleague, and he will probably be able to resonate more if it's a Bangladeshi family. So having an accent to me, I think it's great, because you're more relatable. I have different, and I've, just living in this country and living in different parts of the UK. I grew up in Wales for the early part of my life as well. So at one point I did have a Welsh accent, which was interesting. But what I'm trying to say, I know, right? So what I'm trying to say is, that should not be a barrier. If anything, look at that as your superhuman power. I think I can only be 100% me. And what made me really, made me struggle the first few years, because I thought I had to be something else initially. And when I started being myself and bringing my full self and actually seeing what I had, which was unique, could actually add value in certain situations, I became happier and I became a better officer for it. That's really my take on that.
Thank you very much, Kiki.
Thanks.
I see Jeff on the screen. I'm back. Do you wanted to buttress on what Kiki just said, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I'll just let Grace say her piece, because you did offer her the opportunity, and I'll pick up on Kiki.
That's correct. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, Grace, please.
Yeah, like Kiki said, I think it's important that you bring your full self to work. Obviously, I'm not an officer, I'm police staff. And obviously, like, having different personalities and people from different backgrounds, that makes us even a better police service, if that makes sense, because then that would mean that we're able to relate to different communities as well. And in terms of within my role, like, I try to bring my full self every time I come to work, but and I always encourage people that I approach in terms of speaking to them about different opportunities as well. Just bring yourself to work. And also, people that speak different languages are key, because we need those within the organization as well. So that is it from me. Over to you, Jeff.
Thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you, Grace. So I'm not sure if any of the team have mentioned before, but we have a program which is called Behind the Badge, which is where we look to demonstrate to people that we're human beings behind our uniform. When you're walking down the road, you don't have your uniform on. I've been stopped and searched. As I've said, I've been in the policing 30 years. I've been stopped and searched numerous times before people realize that I'm actually a police officer. So I do know what it's like, and I do understand. Obviously, I'm getting older, so when I'm talking with younger people, there is a bit of a difference. But the point is, we are encouraging people to come to the organization. Both Kiki and Grace have said it. We want people to be their true selves in the workplace. You're more likely to feel more comfortable if there are more people that look like you and sound like you within the organization. And only by us having a critical mass of people joining the organization will we get to that stage where people will feel comfortable. And that is what my team are trying to do. And hopefully, even if we just get one person listening today and saying, you know what, I'm interested, I'm going to contact the outreach team, I'm going to speak to them and everything else. If we get one person, we're one step closer, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. I've got a question for Grace and Z. So if we have parents that are watching the program tonight and obviously with their kids watching and listening, they're interested in joining because I'm like, when they secondary school, they already know what they want to do. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a nurse, but not talking about want to be a police. And then all of a sudden, by watching this program tonight, they become interested in like, okay, I want to join the police. What does it take? What does it take for them to actually get into the police? What do they need?
Okay, I think I'll take that, Grace, and maybe you can add on after if you want to. So for anyone, the parent listening or anyone that is 17 plus that is listening that actually wanted to join us. So what you need in terms of qualification, you need to get a GCSE, grade C or above in English and maths. If you don't have maths, as Grace mentioned earlier, we will support you with South London College to achieve your maths. In addition to that, you need to have two A levels at grade C or above, or anything that is equivalent as well. That can be a BTEC or any other qualification that is equivalent as well. If you don't have a BTEC or A levels, if you have a work experience as well, and you have it for like 2 years or plus, you can also use that as well to apply. You need to be a Londoner because currently we have a London residency criteria. So what does that mean? You have to be living in London for the past 3 years for you to apply. So we want people that live in London that understand the community as well to apply and police London itself because London is a diverse city. So if you have all those requirements that I just pointed out and you're interested, you can apply. But again, if they need any further information, if they want to speak to us further or spend more time to understand the role more, we're more than happy to do that as well. Digitally will have my contact details as well. I think it will share around so they can contact us and I can share around to the team as well. It's not just myself. We have about 8 or 9 of us to do this job. So we can share that around and then someone will be definitely to help them and be in contact as well. So Grace, I don't know if I missed anything, but if you want to jump in, carry on.
Rosie, you covered everything. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Z. Thank you, Grace. We've got 10 minutes to go. I don't know whether Jeff have got something to say to the community, the public, and we'll take it one at a time before we round up the show.
Yeah, I just want to build on what Z had just said about the entry, and I'll be brutally honest here. As I said at the beginning, for many people, the mere thought of being involved with the Metropolitan Police Service would be something that they say, no, never going to do it, never in a million years. And I respect people, as long as they have enough informed opinion, as long as they're aware, that's fine. Because not everybody is going to want to be involved in policing. But 2 weeks ago, we held a community meeting in Croydon. And what struck me was there was a community leader, a very powerful lady, who was talking about her children, was talking about lack of job opportunities for her children, saying to us, this is an opportunity for them to have a job. Now that might sound like a very simple thing to do, but in this current climate, where jobs are becoming increasingly more difficult, the fact that we are offering the opportunity to gain a degree, if you do not already have one, a degree is a transferable skill that can take you to any type of occupation. To be paid while studying to gain that degree gives you a stepping stone in a very, very challenging time. So what I'm saying to anybody out there are opportunities, but all we want you to do is to make an informed choice. And if you're not sure, then speak with us. Come out on a ride with us on a shift to find out what it's like. Be a volunteer. Think about being a special. Think about being a volunteer police cadet. These are opportunities that once you've done it, and then you then decide whether or not it's for you or whether or not it's not. But what we wouldn't want you to do is just to turn and say absolutely no without actually being fully aware of the opportunities that are there. That's all I've got to say, but thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Let me come to Kiki. Kiki, before we wrap up, what have you got for the public? What encouragement do you have for the female watching you guys tonight?
I would say, don't let your fears or self-doubt be a hindrance to joining. I had a lot of self-doubt from joining to even developing myself. Ask, we are here. We will answer any questions. We will support you. If we don't know the answers, we'll find the answers for you. Don't let anything stop you. I'm 5'2". I would have never, again, Grace talks about the height restrictions. So do not let your fears hinder you from actually at least expressing an interest. There's so many things you can do within the Met, apart from the volunteer roles, etc. Even as a police officer, you know, I have the opportunity, if I wanted to pretty much change my job every 2 years, because I can work in Marine Support Unit, Air Support Unit, CID, etc. So that it's all dependent. So just ask. And the police is an exciting place to work. You have to be resilient. You do have to, but then the most important thing, and someone asked me as well, is what does it take to be a police officer? And I think ultimately it is, you've got to want to help people and help your community. And if you still, you think about that every time you turn up for your shift, you should be fine. That's really my takeaway from this.
Right. Kiki, sorry, before you go, I wanted to ask this question before I come to Sister Grace. How does it feel like? What challenges do you face, like when you go to a Black community wherein there is an incident and then you show up there? How challenging is this for you?
I get a mixed reaction, okay? I do get a mixed reaction sometimes. When I was much younger in my service, because obviously I looked really young and people were quite surprised to see me and didn't quite know how to take me. Makes sense? So most of them were more receptive to me. However, you do have some parts who will probably understandably call you names, but then I know it's the uniform. So I try not to take that on board. But one thing I will say again, and it's about adding, bringing that unique thing to a situation, because sometimes if I'm actually in a community, right, versus a Nigerian community or maybe people around my age, especially when I was younger, I could maybe sort of reach them or actually communicate with them in a way they probably have never been communicated with by maybe other officers they've come into contact with. So it is very mixed. However, as I've got older, I do get a bit more positive than I do negative, because people see that, especially a female officer who's a sergeant, so they appreciate that. And, I do get more of a positive response, which I am grateful for, but then we need more. We need more in the service, definitely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Grace, before you go, how do you encourage people, female, watching us tonight? What do you have for them? How do you want to encourage them to actually join in the police force?
Yeah, so I'd like to say to all the female viewers watching today, please join us. We need a lot more women and a lot more women from diverse communities. So we're looking at Black communities, Asian community, and other minority ethnic groups as well. If you're unsure, we've got a number of events that Z already mentioned that will be taking place in November. So within the BCUs I look after, there's going to be an event in West area, which is going to be in Hounslow. So that's going to be in Hounslow from the 18th to the 21st, and that will be running from 9 until 3 p.m. And then we've also got the same in Northwest, which will be in Wembley Central, right by outside Wembley Station as well. Come and ask us questions. The event for that one will be from the 11th until the 14th, and that will be from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. I'll be happy to share the details with you, DJ Ish and DJ Little as well, so that you could share with the watchers. But in terms of joining, please, we will support you, myself and Z, and also the other outreach leads. We are there to support and help people get through the process. And obviously that is not the end. Once they also join the organization, we've got various staff associations as well that are based on our protected characteristics, so religion, race, sexuality. So for instance, we have the Black Police Association, Black Police Network Strand, we've got the Network of Women as well, we've got the Muslim Police Association. So there's so many, there's over 19 of them as well. So for those that actually join, these will help you acclimate when you join the organization, and they will continue to help you and support you. We also now have career leads in place that will be working on career plans, career development plans for those new officers joining, so they have opportunities to progress once they join the organization. And also, just to add as well, we are a disability confident employer. So for those that may have disabilities, we ask them that they just declare at the start of the application process, so that we could support them and make reasonable adjustments during the recruitment process. Otherwise, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Before I come to Z, Jeff, I think you've got something you want to say.
No. I'm just supportive of what both Kiki and Grace have said. So no, I'm just listening intently.
Oh, okay. Right, Z, over to you.
Thank you very much again, DJ Ish, DJ Little. Thank you very much to our listeners as well. I think it's a great opportunity to be here today. I think the one thing that I will leave with our watchers, our viewers, is this. I know Grace mentioned this earlier. The opportunity that we offer currently when you're looking at the degree apprentice program, which is a 3 years program and is fully funded by us. What does that mean? It means we will pay for your tuition fee for you to go to university. We will pay you as well 30,000 to start whilst you're doing that, and you will get a degree as well. If you're 18 plus and you're thinking of going to university and then you start your program and you're not too sure and then you leave out of that, you're going to be paying that student loan that you've taken already. But if you come and join us, you will do your 3 years program, and when you start employment, you don't need to pay any student loan. I am paying that at the moment, and it's a big chunk that come off my wages every month. So to any young people out there, anyone that don't have a degree, that want to have a degree, won't believe that this is a fantastic opportunity. And again, hear me out. I'm not saying this because I work for the Met. I'm saying it because it's fact as well. The opportunity that we provide currently, if it's not the best, it's one of the best out there. So I want people to take this opportunity as well, to utilize this as well. But apart from our degree apprentice program, we also have a degree program as well. That means if you have a degree, you can join us on a 2 years program and you get a diploma in police as well. And then you get 30,686 on a start as well. Again, a fantastic opportunity as well. As Jeff Kiki just mentioned, you don't only have to be like a police officer on the beat as well. You can go into different strands into the organization. You can go into schools, into faith, into safe neighborhoods, to name the few. So we have all this fantastic opportunity. And again, today is not the only time we're going to be being here. We're going to be trying to come as well to carry on this conversation, to building that confidence, to building that relationship as well, where we will understand you and you understand as well, and then see how you can come and join us and be the change you want to see. So on that note, once again, I would say thank you very much. And over to you, DJ Ish.
Right, Z, before you go, when are we going to have you guys again on this panel? So that at least for audience, because we will still refer them to go and watch the live again on YouTube, on Facebook. But when are we guys going to have you guys again to actually have this kind of discussion again to the public?
I think we were having this conversation with DJ Leach. We didn't set up a particular date, but it was looking at the second and the third week of each month. Am I right to say that, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll be running that whenever you guys confirm that. And again, it will not just be myself. Maybe it will be obviously someone else from different strands as well, like TSG, from the neighbors as well, to come as well to talk about their job, talk about their duty and their engagement as well. So we're going to get different people as well that can come to this platform as well and talk about their different roles.
All right, thank you very much. Jeff, have you got something to say before I come to DJ Little?
I just wanted to build on what Zia said, where I know there was a lot of focus on young people, but please remember the entry is between the ages of 18 and up to 57. So if there's anybody out there that's looking at change of career up until the age of 57, don't discount it. You're never too old. Give it some consideration.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you guys, wonderful, wonderful team on the show tonight. Over to you, DJ Little.
Yeah, I am super excited, and I'm really, really grateful that the outreach team decided to choose Diaspora Voices, which I mentioned earlier, to communicate to our community, the Sierra Leone community and friends of the Sierra Leone. So I am really, really grateful to every one of you for giving your time. So I just want to try and capture a brief summary so that members of our community and those who are watching tonight can also just factor into why the police is also useful. I sound like as if I'm a campaign manager for the outreach now, isn't it?
You've been employed.
Yeah, Jeff. So if ever Z is looking for an assistant, you can employ me alongside Z. Please keep him. He's a great guy, but I just want to be his assistant. Anyway, so what I wanted to say is when I came to this country, I loved the uniform. I saw the uniform as absolutely beautiful uniform, but like everybody else, just like what Kiki said, I felt being 5'1" would never get me into the police because everybody I saw at the time was either giant size or so. But because of Michael Fuller, because of Dr. Alison Hidera, because of James Howard, because of Naima Astwood, Mabs Hussein, and the many other leading police figures of Black and minority ethnic community, the names of a few which I've just listed out there, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar to those names, Jeff. And there is always an opportunity for anybody of a minority ethnic group to belong, and all you have to do is aspire and have the drive and the willingness. So what I would say to our members of our community from the age of 18 to 57 that are watching this program here, you might want to change your course. You might want to rethink, say, you know what, I've done healthcare for a very long time, or I've worked within the supermarket, or I've been a bus driver. I want to do something and make a change in my community. And by watching Diaspora Voices tonight, I think, oh, I was thinking there was a brick wall, you can never get into the police. And this is now being the icebreaker. So I want to say, because the names of the people that I've listed there are significant Black and minority ethnic officers who have aspired to highest position. And there is always a way, there is always an opportunity. So if you dream it, make it happen, and let's us all be the change that we want to see. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I don't know whether one of you guys just want to do the summary before we close down.
Jeff, do you want to do that, Honor, please?
Kiki, Grace, any one of you guys.
Well, keep that to the boss.
I'll leave it to one of the ladies to.
I suppose I'll take that then. Okay. So, well, what's not been said? I would just say, again, you've got nothing to lose by at least expressing an interest. We are here to support you, to guide you, not just from expressing an interest to hopefully making an application, but through your first day on the job and beyond as well. We're not just going to leave you once you become a police officer. There are many people even on the other side looking to assist you, to coach, mentor, and it is very much a collaborative effort. Everyone's been saying be the change you want to see, and there are no truer words. 20 years ago, again, I had a reason for joining, and 20 years later, that reason is obviously very, very painfully apparent. There is a need that more representation is necessary within the Met. So what I would say is, let's try and make it, even if it's not that great for our generation, let's try and make it better for the next generation. And that's really it. That's all I've got to say, really. Thank you. Thank you for having us, DJ Ish and DJ Little.
Thank you very much. Z, anything?
No, again, I just want to say thank you again. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. And as we mentioned, we're going to be back again next month again to carry on this conversation and also carry on this opportunity as well. Anyone have any questions for us in terms of how to apply, if you need any support as well, more than happy to provide the support and answer those questions as well. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all our panelists. Thank you to our viewers. We just want to say big thank you. And we look forward to host you guys again in the next 3 weeks. Thank you very much. Over to you, DJ Little.
Thank you. Everybody say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's play the music out now as we play the music. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're off air now. Z, stay there. Well done. Okay, thank you very much. Z, great program.